Okay, can we all please stand for a short invocation, followed by the four-way test. We seek blessings on the tasks before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality. Four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and friendships? Will it be better for us? Thank you. Please be seated. RI Special Representative, Rotarian Michael Colasurdo, Sr., and Mrs. Ann, District Governor Roger Bose, District Governor-elect Wadi Sauma, District Governor nominee Dominic Veneri, District Governor nominate designate Trevor Blake from St. Kitts, past district governors and their partners in service, District Rotaract Representative-elect Kezra Lashley, Conference Chairman Varsha Suraj Singh, who will be here later on, representatives of Rotary International, District Rotaract Rotary Coordinator of District 34, Art McQueen, representatives of Rotary International, Marley and Rebecca, fellow Rotarians, Rotaractors, a pleasant good morning. My task is a very simple one here this morning, and that is to introduce to you the person who will take you through this morning proceedings. She is Giselle Holder, a past president of the Rotaract Club of Port of Spain West. I invite Giselle.
Good morning, everyone. I wish to adopt all the protocol previously established. I hope by now you have been feeling the warmth of a beautiful twin island of Trinidad and Tobago. I do apologize for the extra hoarseness of my voice, as we have been doing a lot of coordination on the Rotaract end of this conference, and it's been very much with the hoarse voice, I'll tell you. This morning's, and rather this day's agenda is truly a packed yet innovative one. We will be, for the first time, showing both the Rotaract and the Rotary side of our events planned throughout the year, best commemorated within this first joint conference. So it truly would be a momentous occasion as we go through what really is the norm within a conference, hearing updates from various dignitaries and also from various past presidents. So without further ado, I invite our very energetic DG Roger Bose to please take the podium.
I am so happy that she thinks that I am looking energetic. Before I introduce the RI rep, I have a few announcements. One of which is I would like to recognize and ask to stand in the audience, please, all the Rotarians from the islands of Guadeloupe, Martinique, and French Guiana, please. If you could just stand for a minute. I hope the applause will be different shortly. Have a seat, thanks, and you'll understand why. A few months ago, although this project started sometime before that, perhaps more than a year ago, we have been doing a lot of changes, making a lot of changes to our district website. And we firmly believe that the district website is a grand source of information that perhaps we don't use enough of. And I think that in our encouragement to Rotarians to learn more about Rotary, we encourage them to go to rotary.org, and we encourage them to go to our district website. The grand thing about our district website, however, is that it's been redone to such a great extent that I think, unfortunately, a lot of people are not aware of. During the course of time, as we were able to develop and make the district website even better and more informative, we tried to get this message out to all the clubs as much as possible. But for obvious reasons, which I'm about to announce, we got some objection from various people because all of the information was only in English. So at every French club that I visited, I made an announcement to them. Some of the people are here today, some of the people are not, but I wanted to let everybody know that we have now completed that task of providing for you a completely French mirror website. All of the information on our website is now dually in both English and French. The last French country I visited was French Guyana, and somebody actually posed, I would call it a challenge to me about whether or not this would happen in my year. So the person is in the room, which I'm very happy about because I passed him in the hallway. I think he's still in the room. I'm very happy to say that not only would it happen in my year, but it's already up and live and running right now as we speak. Sean, I would like you now to navigate a bit on the site in French, please, perhaps showing our district committees. So as you see on the screen, all of the links are in French, and as we continue to develop the website, I just want you to know that there is still work going on, but most of the major information that you have asked me for, especially with respect to documentation pertaining to grants and links to the RI website for pertinent information, is all now properly arranged and hopefully as accurate as possible on our new French website. So I hope that you are satisfied. Maybe a round of applause for our district PR team. Thank you very much, Sean Paddy and his team, who have been doing such an excellent job with that. I wanted to highlight that more so because I thought that we often make commitments to do things, and sometimes when challenges face us, we don't necessarily follow through. But kudos especially to Sean Paddy, who apparently eats challenges, I have to put it like that, because he was able to get through this in the shorter period of time that I gave him. So thanks again to that, Sean. Okay, Michael Colasurdo is our RI President's Rep, whom most of you have already met, I think, or certainly heard about last night at the opening ceremony. And Michael and I spoke briefly before we started because he's aware of the fact that his bio is quite extensive, and he would like to have more podium time than the time I would take to read his bio. He seems to think that what he has to deliver will be much more acceptable or much more in demand, and I agree, because I'm sure that it is. So he asked me to say something from my heart. Now, this is very interesting, and an interesting challenge to me, of course, because I met the gentleman 2 days ago. But I met the gentleman 2 days ago, but had some email correspondence with him, of course, prior to this. And very interestingly, in an email exchange, we already, and we both agree with this, we already established the kind of rapport that is so interesting and nice that even by email conversation, we seem to be on the same page with each other, and we were very much understanding each other's way. So I think that he understands my way, and I'm pretty sure now that I understand his. So having said that, and having, of course, been around him for the last couple of days, I've come to realize a few things about him, more so than what the email was able to produce. And that is that this gentleman is obviously, his entire heart and soul and life is in Rotary. And I think when we hear him speak shortly, that will certainly come out in his presentation. But to say definitely that when we were making arrangements in terms of the aide, PDG George and his wife, who are the official aides to Michael and Anne, you know, we of course went through the process of determining that we had all the I's dotted and all the T's crossed. And it's actually very lovely and I think satisfying to us that Mike himself doesn't necessarily require all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. So we appreciate that very much about him, his openness, his frankness, and his down-to-earthness, if there's such a word. So with that, I would like to introduce our RI President's rep to the podium now, so he may have his full time here. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. I want to be considered low maintenance, so I'm from New Jersey, and they also call me Danny DeVito. I'm much taller, and I will not be, no, and I'll behave myself. Okay. First, I want to say thank you to our President, John Germ and Judy, for allowing us to come here to represent them. It's a very special occasion. We're celebrating 25 years of Rotary. We're celebrating the acquisition or the inclusion or the acquirement of more Rotarians from great clubs in the, this is easy for me to remember, ABC, Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao. I've been to Aruba, I've been to Curacao, Bonaire, please call me. I spoke a little bit last night about John's challenge to us, that it is not just an opportunity, it's a great opportunity. And I'm thankful to District Governor Roger, and Ann and I want to thank George and Lillian for looking after us, and we're becoming very good friends. It's amazing where you go in the Rotary world, your family just continuously extends itself. I want to say to District Governor-elect Waddy and his wife, Shirley, you are going to have one heck of a year based on what I've seen the past few days at your pets. Ian Risley will be very, very proud of everything happening here at 7030. I'm going to be sure and tell him that. Have a great year. And I want to extend my congratulations to our District Governor nominee, Dominique Veneder. Did I say that right? Okay. And to Dominique, your president, good friend of mine, Sam Awori from Uganda. It will be a fantastic year as well. I want to also congratulate the conference chair, Varsha. Great opening last night, outstanding. And I want to recognize the past district governors. In my part of the world, as with many other parts of the world, they may refer to us as past, dead, and gone. I say we were pretty damn good. And so to the PDGs, wherever I go, whatever conference I attend, when I see the PDGs together in sync, there's nothing more beautiful than to see the strength of the past always willing to help and never leave. Rotarians will always be successful, and they will always be successful because they will never quit. And thank you to all the past district governors that are here participating. Assistant governors, you got a big job ahead of you, and it's always a big job. The coordination, you are key to the message. And presidents, club presidents, when you start your meeting, do one thing for me. Don't go in the room. Stand at the door. say thank you to all the Rotarians that are attending. Thank you for being here, because without you, I would not be here. I kind of say that to my customers. I know I'm in the food business. I'm not on the high end, and you should have seen me on the board, but a lot of common sense. But the customers, you see, when they say, how are you doing? I say, I'm doing better now that you're here. And I think when the Rotarians are in the room, when they show up at the meetings, wow, that's great. So to the club presidents, greet them, honor them, validate them, and realize that it is about them. And to the past presidents, congratulations. Continue coming to the meetings. And of course, all of us, the rest of us who want to be the president, who think we could do a better job, and we probably can. So, all of you, my family of Rotary, greetings. I want to say that what I'm about to say to you is not the conventional held view. So, button on your seatbelts. Last year, I had the privilege of being at 7020. Nobody get upset now. In any event, District Governor Felix Stubbs, an outstanding individual, outstanding Rotarian, he reminded me that our vocation should be more than our success. He talked about all the great successes we do, all the great projects that we do, but they will die when we die. But the significance of that work, the significance of those projects will last far beyond our existence. I was struck by that because I related to that. Because all my life in Rotary, I could never figure it out. When I went into Rotary, it was a strange way of getting into Rotary because, see, I was a history teacher. When I left teaching and went into business, I was invited to speak at various historical societies. And so when I went to my bank to make my deposits, my banker would say to me, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to give a speech." "On what?" "Thomas Jefferson, Hamilton, the founding fathers." "Really?" So 1976 comes along. That's the bicentennial year of the United States of America. So Dominic Savodio says, "Mike, I want you to come and speak to my Rotary Club." I didn't know what a Rotary Club was. "So what do you want me to speak on?" "Well, it's the bicentennial of our nation. Speak on the Declaration of Independence." Fine. I did that. I left. I went back to the store, and within 5 minutes, another guy comes in and says, "You have to join Rotary." And I said, "No, I don't." So the following year, they said, "You need to come to Rotary." I said, "No, I don't." And the third and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth and the seventh and the eighth. 8 years. I said no. My children were young. My business was young. And then one day, a man walks into my store. "You come with me." In New Jersey, they're bigger than I am. And so I went to Rotary, and I went home, and I said, "Ann, I joined Rotary today." And she said, "In those shorts?" The shorts with the strings? Now, Rotaractors, you should know that today we could buy these jeans with holes in them and strings hanging. I was doing that 25 years ago. That's why I love Trinidad. I would have been here in my shorts, but Roger said, protocol. Okay. So anyway, what I'm trying to say to you that is when I joined Rotary, I wondered, what am I doing here? Why am I here? Has anyone ever gotten that feeling or had that feeling when you first joined Rotary? And so for 10 years, they kept me in the back of the room. You got to do that with me. And after 10 years, after being on the board, I became president. And I was kind of a revolutionary. And I hope all of the presidents are listening. I watched. I was a sponge. I listened carefully. And when I became president, I decided to engage every Rotarian in that club. We were 60, and half of them were past presidents. Yes. Half of them were telling you can't do that. We tried that. It doesn't work. And so I didn't listen. But what I did was I took all the past presidents and I brought them to my house, gave them good wine, good food. I'm in the food business. And I announced to them that you are no longer chairs of the committees. And Carl turned to me and said, "Are you out of your mind?" I said, "We will engage all of our members," because half the club were always leaving. And I said, "Carl, we have to do this." And so I said to them, "I don't want you to be chairman. I want you to be co-chairs. I want you to be coaches. I want you to mentor. You can't run a cocktail party for the past 10 years. You got to give it up. Rotaractors, when you come into Rotary, as far as I'm concerned, you are Rotary. You have to seize the club. You have just as much a right to your opinion as anyone else in that club. I don't care if he's 60, 80, 90, or she. But I wanted very much to engage all of them. And so things got rough. We had the band shell being built. We had foundation. We had all kinds of things happening. We had Interact. They told me I couldn't have an Interact. We tried that. I went to the superintendent of schools. We got 2 Interact clubs. But what I'm trying to say to you is that I didn't know where I was, but I was with movers and shakers, and suddenly after the presidency, they said, "Let's get rid of this guy. Make him a governor. Go become a governor." Excuse me. It's John Jern. John, not now. Okay. Excuse me. This is not rehearsed. You know, every day I made it a point to shut this phone off. Every day. Here I am. Anyway. And so what happened was I become governor. And then they send me to Anaheim. This is good stuff. This is getting into the speech. Bill Huntley gave a speech almost 20 years ago on membership. It was the best speech I ever heard on membership. That's my opinion. And he only challenged us with 4 questions. What is it I belong to? What is Rotary? Do you have an answer? If anybody asks me what is Rotary, I say it's the best decision I ever made, except if Ann is standing next to me. Got to be careful. What is Rotary? What is it I belong to? Number 2, why am I here? You don't ask that? And if I know why I'm here, then what conditions, under what conditions would I stay? If you want members, you need to know this. And finally, if I know what Rotary is, if I know what my club has done, if I know why I'm here, if I know why I stay, why wouldn't I share it? Stop selling Rotary. Share it. It's a beautiful association of like-minded people. Many of it. We're all the same. Peel the onion. Just keep peeling and peeling. When you get to that core, you'll find that we have a common denominator. We love humanity. And so I just went through 5 pages, those 4 questions. And so in many parts of the world, good things are happening not because of powerful people in government or industry, but because of ordinary people with a passion to make a difference. Mother Teresa, she responded well to the question, what is the secret to your success? Is it hard work? Is it dedication, ability, or discipline? And with a smile, Mother Teresa replied, it's hard to say. Well, one thing I know, I love to serve. I love to give. And if you give yourself, life will give you back something to cherish. You can make a difference in the world. My friends, in every country in the world, some good project of Rotary is undertaken. The program began in the minds of a Rotarian. That part of the country, that part of the world is a better place because Rotarians, especially Rotarians in 7030 and Rotaractors as well. You look at that website, as I have done, and you see what we are doing in the world. We have shown the world and we have proved to ourselves that Rotarians can meet even greater challenges by multiplying our resources, working with governments and sharing our common humanitarian goals. If we did the research, we will know that anyone who ever accomplished anything did not know what they were going to do, how they were going to do it. They just knew that it was going to happen. I was in church one day, and in part of the homily, the priest told a story about a grandfather who took his grandson to fly a kite. And the grandfather assembled the kite, took the little boy on the beach, let the kite go, and the kite went up, and suddenly the clouds came in. And the grandfather said, "You lost the kite." And the boy said, "No, Grandpa, I didn't lose the kite." "Yes, you lost the kite." "No, Grandpa, I did not lose it. I don't see it." "Grandpa, you don't see it, but I feel the tug." We don't see what we do in the world. Many of the projects we don't see, but some reason Rotarians feel the tug. And I began to realize and relate to all the people I know in Rotary and all the great things they do. And I was at a project in Santo Domingo, in the Dominican Republic, and we were doing cataract surgeries. And my wife remained in Florida at our home there, and a neighbor said to Ann, "Where's Mike?" "He's in the Dominican Republic." What's he doing there?" He said, "Well, he's on a mission with Rotary. They're doing cataract surgeries for the week." And he said, "Well, how much is he getting paid?" He says, "Well, he's not getting paid." He said, "What, is he stupid? Not getting paid? How can he not get paid?" He said, and you know what? All of these experiences, you realize we don't get paid. But back when I was leaving teaching, Gretchen Sullivan, student council advisor, gave me a book, a memorabilia of all the good things we did at the school. I was student council advisor. And she said at the back of the book, she wrote me a note, "Dear Mr. C, the greatest reward for a man's toil is not what he gets for it, but what he becomes by it." And I submit to you that the greatest value in Rotary is not what we get, but what we become. And so, my friends, I submit to you that with Mother Teresa, one more point I want to make Mother Teresa, which is so special. She said that the world makes a mistake of thinking that what we do is our vocation. And all the good things that the Sisters of Charity in their blue and white saris did for the poorest of the poor. Our vocation is not what we do. Our vocation is the love of Jesus. And I figured something out, that all of the projects and all of the grants and all of the good things that we do in the world, that is not our vocation. It's our love of humanity. That's what it is. It's a common denominator amongst every single person in this room. Yes, you may be a doctor, and I might be in business, and you might be an architect. You may be whatever you are blessed to be in your vocation, but vocation is a calling. And I think in Rotary, it goes deeper as to who we are. You see, I love my wife, not because of what she does, but because of who she is. She loves me, not because of what I do, but for who I am. We love our children, not because of what they do or their accomplishments. That's good. It's a good thing. But who they are. And so, my friends, in Rotary, many may not agree with me, but I know we do great things But I want to, this morning for you to search within. Why? Because of who you are. I mean, after all, Herbert Taylor, very quickly, 1932, that four-way test did not come out of a committee in Evanston. Herbert Taylor was searching for success during the Depression. He invested in a kitchen utensil company. He had a lot of competition. He didn't have any idea whether he was going to succeed or fail, but he needed a communication, he needed a philosophy, he needed to let all vendors, customers know, who are we? How do we operate? A simple four-way test of truth, of fairness. And 20 years later, he became president of Rotary and gave up the, trademark, copyright. And so, my friends, what does it all mean? Coming to the end, I know you look exhausted. I love research. I was in Panama, and my good friend, past Vice President Eric Adamson, he's doing research on conventions. I don't know how. Don't say anything, staff people. I don't know how he got the archives, these books out, but he had everything on all the conventions. It's phenomenal to read on past conventions. And so I read about Don Adams. You know, Get Smart? No, he was the president of Rotary back in 1927, 90 years ago. And guess what the title of his speech was? The Meaning of Rotary Service. And what's the title of my speech? The Meaning of Rotary Service. So I figured, why not copy it? But I put it in quotation marks. Come with me with President Don Adams and go back with me 90 years ago. Rotary, to me, is very simple, but the simplest things are often the hardest to explain. I have reached about the halfway mark in my life. I am, so to speak, on the crest of a hill, and the road slopes away in both directions. I want you for a minute to look down these roads with me. First, let us look at the road ahead, down which I must travel to the end of my life. It is not smooth, nor entirely straight. There are obstacles and difficulties along the way. The road is filled with travelers, and those just in front of me are a little older. And further, a little older. And further along, they are a little older and still older. But way down at the end, as far as I could see, just going out of sight, I see my mother, my father. And as I watch them, I can't help wondering what has kept them faithful all these years. Has it been financial returns? No. They have had no such rewards. Has it been the applause of their fellow men? They have had little of that. And as I think the matter through, I realize they have been kept faithful by their love for me and for the common humanity. Now, look with me down the part of the road over which I have traveled. This isn't smooth or straight. It ought to be smoother. It would be, too, had I not many times failed in my duties and opportunities. And this road is crowded with travelers. Just behind me are some little younger than I am. And as I look, you're a lot younger than I am. And those behind them are just still younger, and so on. And way down at the end of the line, trudging along hand in hand, and just coming up over the brow of the hill, I see my children. I see my grandchildren. And in the light of the vision we have seen on the road ahead, I know that my duty to my children and my grandchildren is to take all the stones and obstacles out of the road as I travel on. And the duty which I owe to my children and my grandchildren, as a Rotarian, I owe to every child in the world. Today, we live in a society that's focused on oneself. As long as we give, we also receive. And Churchill reminded of this. We make a living by what we got, what we get, but not, and make a life of what we give. And so, as time goes on, and we want to cut this a little short. Am I running out of time, Governor? I am. He gave me the thumbs up. You're supposed to know. Before I leave the podium, I want to share something with you that, as I've been living with, I regard it as one of the best things I have heard in Rotary from a Rotary president. It happened to be John Kenny, and I asked John Germ. He says, no problem. It sounds good. So anyway, John, of course, made me treasurer, and I watched him closely. I knew him more than many people knew him. I knew his inner core. He was a good man. He is a good man. And in 2009, and of course, George, he was your president. Oh, actually, you had two presidents. In 2009, at the International Assembly, he said these words, and they just went by, but I was captured by them. And I want to share them with you. And I quote, to his governors, all of us in this room have made a promise. We made it the day we became Rotarians and the day we first put on a Rotary pin. We promised to be honest. We promised to be ethical. We promised to help others where and how we were able. And we promised to do what we could to make the world a better place. We promised, in short, to put service above self. That is a promise that we made as Rotarians, a promise that is ours to keep every day of our lives, in our clubs, our vocations, in our communities, and for each of us in our every interaction. It is the public face of Rotary. Wherever we are, whatever we do, whenever we wear the Rotary pin, we are Rotary for all those who see us. And for those, and as others see and judge us, so will all of Rotary be seen and judged. And that is not a responsibility to be taken lightly. For it is true, as they say, that a reputation takes a lifetime to build, but a moment to destroy. End of quote. It is that promise. It is that commitment. It is our responsibility to make our world a better place. And it distinguishes us as Rotarians. And when all of our work die with us, our significance will last long after we are gone. John Kenny and President John Germ are telling us that the heart of Rotary is in each and every club, that the heart of Rotary is the very heart of each and every one of its members. The heart of Rotary is the engagement of Rotarians who, through their compassion and dedication, bring that commitment. It's not about me. It's not about the president. It's not about the governor. It's about all of us as individual Rotarians. I'm not a director. I'm not a treasurer. Those are assignments. Those are opportunities. I'm a Rotarian from the Rotary Club of Brick. That's the only title I prefer. And so, my friends, because of who you are and because of your love of humanity, I bid you farewell with a quote from my friend Winston. That's Churchill. That's not the cigarettes. Churchill said, "Success is the ability to go from one failure to another with no loss of enthusiasm." Never lose your enthusiasm. And you notice I need to have some. Never stop serving humanity. Never give up your commitment to serve those less fortunate, because your noble service will always be the greater glory of Rotary. And I want to say thank you to all of you in District 7030. And I mean this. You make me want to be a better Rotarian, and I thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic, Rotary International President Rep. Michael. I think it's moments like this that I'm even more grateful that we can sit here as our Rotary District 7030 family and truly appreciate those inspirational words. I think we all, regardless of what aspect of the Rotary family that we fall into, go through the struggle of why are we here? Why are we going through this? Why are we up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning, you know, carrying heavy, buckets of paint to go and help another family? And it's truly the deeper commitment and the bigger picture which RI President Rep. Michael painted for us that keeps us going. There's nothing more beautiful than someone who's committed to what they are about. And I think truly as the Rotary District 7030, we are that committed bunch and we remain committed to do exactly what Rotary expects of us. So thank you once again.